Shemai, and welcome to the latest FC Cymru. Welcome to the greatest view that we have had on FC Cymru's Euros tour, the Rhondda in all its glory. And we're here because of one man, the man leading Wales, Rob Page. We think we need to learn a little bit more about him, where he's come from, and of course, Rhondda football.
Yes, and we will be meeting some of the Rhondda's footballing royalty today as well. So I'm very excited. But let's get off this mountain, Lawrence, and get
You're
down.
not feeling it, Mika. You're not feeling
I've
it.
got a little bit of vertigo. Let's get down into Tylorstown.
We've joined us in Tylorstown Welfare Hall, which is absolutely stunning. And with Gareth as well. This isn't Mika, as you've noticed. Gareth, listen, first of all, introduce who you are and why we're talking to you.
Yeah, I'm Gareth. I'm Robert Page's best friend. Pretty much known him since we're 10 years of age from playing football.
Yeah. I hear you sort of helped him out when he was a kid. You were the one who swept up his messes at centre half as you two played together at the back.
Yeah, I like to think that I taught him everything he knows, but unfortunately that's not true. But yes, we did used to play alongside each other as centre back.
Yeah. What was it like growing up in Tylorstown?
It wasn't easy, you know what I mean? If you had any aspirations about it like Robert did, then you certainly had to travel out to the Rhondda. He's certainly proud of his upbringing, and that's got a lot to do with the way he conducts himself today and the way he manages the Welsh team.
Yeah, and you must be so proud, and everybody here, I guess, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I speak to him regular, and it's come very sudden. He was with the under-21s, and all of a sudden now he's coaching Wales in the Euros, so it was a bit unexpected. But very proud. Every time I see him on the TV, I still think it's unreal. But no, I'm certainly very proud of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Gareth, listen, thank you so much for coming along. We're going to be speaking to Rob Page later, but without further ado, Mika has three very special guests with her.
Peter, you've written a book about football in the Rhondda. Is it a footballing hotbed here?
Yes, I've written a book called Park Life, which details 4 particular seasons in the Rhondda, and it's about the grassroots game, and that's why I wanted to write it, to capture a moment in time and to try and identify the passion for the round ball game here in the Rhondda. Sometimes there's a perception that other sports are more popular, possibly rugby, but if you look at the participation levels, I think I'm right in saying that there's probably more people playing football here in the Rhondda, and that's part of the reason I wrote the book, to try and get that message across to others that as we hear in the Rhondda, it is a footballing hotbed, yes.
Yeah. And Kerry, he talked about the passion there, and there's so much passion and pride that comes out of people from the Rhondda. Is this something that you take with you for life?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Being from the Valleys, playing football in the Valleys, and then if some of us have gone on to play outside the Valleys, and you always keep that passion within you.
Yeah.
So.
And you've played a few games against Rob Page. What was that like?
Yeah, me and Rob, we go back a long way. He played for Watford, I played for Luton, big enemies. Kicked me up in the head a few times, I can tell you now, but I think I might have a couple of scars on my legs left to show for it, but yeah, he was a good defender, Rob, and I think that's showing now in what he's doing for Wales in the performances.
Yeah, and he's got that excellent performance behind him, and yeah. Scott, how well is he doing? How proud are you of how he's doing and taking everything in his stride?
Yeah, first and foremost, I think the whole of Wales are proud of him, the way he stepped up in difficult circumstances and taking the job on, but obviously being from the Rhondda, we're sort of super proud of him. He's done a great job, with the country believing we can do well out there after 2016. He's got us out the group stages, and we're all looking forward to Saturday. So yeah, and like I say, he's a Rhondda boy. He's still one of us, and the way he acts and looks after himself out there, he is a Rhondda boy.
Rhondda boy through and through. And we caught up with Rob earlier this week to find out what it was like growing up in Tylorstown.
There's a mountain, a graig, we call it the graig, and that was our playground. Tree swings, climbing trees, falling off them, riding your bikes, that was it. We didn't have computer games, we didn't have Xbox, PlayStations, mobile phones. We were out, playing kick a can, making games up on the street, and then your mother would call you in at 9 o'clock for your supper. You'd go in starving, hungry, have your supper and off to bed, ready for school in the morning. So yeah, great childhood. We didn't have a lot of money, but great memories. Growing up in Tylorstown, we were all affected by the last pit closure in Mardy. And that had an impact on the community because up there was no other industry other than mining, as you can imagine. So, you know, it had a massive impact on the community in Mardy, Ferndale, Tylorstown. You know, so we all had to stick together. You know, there was the food banks and the welfare halls, and you know, everybody had to rally around each other. And I think that brought the best out in the community. So to be a part of that, yeah, I was really proud. That community spirit, I think I see that in aspects of the changing room with us that we've got here. You know, my mother the front door would be left open. You don't see many of that today, much of that today. The front door would be left open and my mum's friends would be, you know, just shouting yoo-hoo as they come through the door and sit and have a cup of tea in the cellar in the kitchen with them. And they'd put the world to right for a couple of hours, and yeah, it was just such a friendly community and a great community to be brought up in.
It was an open house. The door was always open, because I go back to when I was younger in Stanleytown, just across the way from where we are in Tylorstown. Nobody locked the doors. When they say the key was on the latch, it was on the latch. It was hanging behind the door on a piece of cord, and you just put your hand through the letterbox and pull it out. That was the Rhondda many years ago. And some of it is still here today, not as much, because the pits were open then and we've lost all that. But there is a close community here.
My dad had a big influence. You know, he drove me, I think he's covered every inch of Wales, driving me to and from football games. And then, yeah, I've had other managers and coaches that have taken over, but my dad was probably the main one. That he would drive us to the games on a Sunday, and there'd be players that were struggling to get out of bed, and we'd have to be knocking them out of bed to get a team together on a Sunday. And we'd play our home games, funny enough, in Mardy. We couldn't, because the pitch, where the pitch is now in Tylorstown, bordering Stanleytown, where the pit used to be, we never had that, so we had to travel to Mardy. So it was a 20-minute journey anyway to play our home games. But we just done it because we absolutely love playing football.
Well, I love football, so for me it wasn't a chore. You know, driving him wherever I had to go, whether it was North Wales, Mid Wales or anywhere, I'd love taking him. I'd make sure I had time off work and I'd take him because that was my enjoyment. And to see him achieve what he did was, for me, was the best thing could happen, because I've always liked football, never been any good at it. But seeing him achieve what he's done and seeing what people have said about him along the way. And for me, that wasn't a chore. I love doing it. No, I said to him the other week, I said, you know, you're very modest. He said, well, that's me. He said, that's who I am. I said, but sometimes you've got to take the praise for what you've done as well. You know, he's just quite happy. He's pleased with what the boys are doing. I think he's just grown into the role. I said to him, it looks like you've been there forever. You know, you just seem to have taken on to it, everything natural to it. Like. He's thriving. He's absolutely thriving. He's loving every minute of it. I spoke to him yesterday and he's just, I said to him, you're enjoying it? He said, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it.